Rain slammed the penthouse windows like 1,000 studs-up tackles at once. The phone lit up at 3:12 a.m. sharp. I grabbed it on instinct, years of waiting for Lucia's late-night calls after away matches or bad breakups. Single dad radar never turns off. Andres Iniesta, the voice on the other end, was clipped, tired, hospital official. Memorial Hospital. Sophia Reyes was in a serious car accident on the M-40. Multiple fractures, internal bleeding. She's in surgery right now. You're still listed as her emergency contact. Get here immediately. Sophia. 3 years since she packed her sketches and walked out the door without looking back. 3 years since she said my quiet discipline suffocated her, that she needed someone who could actually see her. And now the hospital was dragging me back into her mess at 3 a.m. I didn't answer the doctor. I just ended the call, yanked the academy hoodie over my head, and stormed out into the storm. The streets were black and slick. Wipers fought the rain. Bernabeu loomed on my left like a ghost stadium, dark, silent, judging. My knuckles were bone white on the wheel. After everything I gave you, I muttered to the empty seat beside me, this is how you repay me. One phone call and I'm still the idiot who shows up. The hospital doors hissed open. Antiseptic hit me like a slap. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. A nurse in navy scrubs barely glanced up before leading me through corridors that smelled of old coffee and fear. ICU was dim. Machines beeped in cold rhythm. Sophia lay small under white sheets, face swollen, left cheek a deep purple bloom, oxygen tube taped under her nose. The woman who used to redesign entire city blocks, who argued 4-3-3 formations with me until 2 a.m. over wine, now looked like she'd been run over by the life she chose. I stood at the foot of the bed, didn't sit, didn't touch her, just stared. Lucia burst through the doors 5 minutes later, rain-soaked coat, backpack half-zipped, eyes already red from crying the whole drive from Barcelona. Dad, her voice cracked when she saw me standing there. Then she saw Sophia. What the hell are you doing here? I didn't answer right away. Lucia stepped closer, voice rising. She left us, Dad. She chose her big projects, her late nights, her freedom, over every single one of my youth league matches. She didn't even show up when I tore my ACL. She was in Valencia closing some deal. And now you're here holding vigil like nothing happened. Sophia's eyelids fluttered. A weak, hoarse whisper. Lucia, Andres. Lucia spun on her. Don't you dare say our names like you still have the right. The monitor beeped faster. Sophia's bruised hand twitched on the blanket. I finally spoke, low, dangerous. They called me, I came, that's it. Lucia laughed bitterly. That's it. After she cheated on you with your best friend. After she broke this family into pieces and walked away smiling. You should have let her bleed out alone. The words landed like a late studs-up challenge. My jaw locked. My fists clenched at my sides so hard I felt nails bite palm. Sophia tried to lift her head, winced, tears slipped down the bruise. I never, save it, I cut her off, voice flat. I'm not here for apologies. I'm here because some piece of paper still has my name on it, and because my daughter is standing here crying. That's the only reason. Lucia wiped her face angrily. Then why aren't you walking away? Why are you still standing here like a fool? I looked at Sophia, really looked. The woman I married at 25. The woman who gave me Lucia. The woman who left because I wasn't enough. And something inside me cracked. Not forgiveness, not yet. Just raw, ugly recognition. Because walking away right now would make me exactly like her, I said quietly. And I refused to become that. The room went silent except for the rain and the machines. Then the night nurse walked in holding Sophia's personal effects bag. She pulled out a cracked wallet and handed it to me. Inside, folded tight, was a letter addressed to me in Sophia's handwriting, dated the day after our divorce papers were signed. I opened it in the corridor outside. The first line hit like a straight red card. Andres, I've been sleeping with Javier for the last 8 months. I'm sorry, but if you're reading this, it means I didn't make it. My blood turned to ice. Then fire. I stepped into the corridor the second the nurse left the room, back pressed to the cold wall. fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets above my head. The folded letter burned in my hand like a live coal. I opened it anyway. Andres, I wrote this the night the papers were signed. Couldn't send it. Too much pride. Too much shame. I've been sleeping with Javier for 8 months. It started as coffee after a charity match. Then dinners. Then nights I told you I was working late. He made me feel seen when you disappeared into the academy, into drills, into silence. I hated myself every time, but I kept going back. If you're reading this, it means something happened to me tonight. Tell Lucia I love her. Tell her I'm sorry I wasn't there for the goals, the tears, the everything. And tell yourself you deserved better than me. Sophia, my vision tunneled. The hallway lights blurred into white streaks. 8 months. 8 fucking months. My best friend, the man who carried my bags after my last injury, who stood next to me at retirement, who called me captain, even after I hung up the boots, had been inside my wife. I slammed my fist into the wall. Plaster cracked. Knuckles split open. Blood smeared the white paint in bright red streaks. I stormed back into the room. Door banged against the stopper. Sophia's eyes snapped open wide. Lucia jumped up from the chair. I held the letter up like evidence in a murder trial. You fucked my best friend for 8 months. My voice came out low, shaking, dangerous. While I was paying the mortgage on the house you left. While I was raising our daughter alone. While I was telling the world my ex-wife was just finding herself. Sophia's bruised face went gray. Andres, I was going to end it that night. That's why we were arguing in the car. I told him it was over. Shut your mouth. I stepped closer. The monitor beeped faster, 98, 104. You let him in our bed. You let him touch you. And then you crashed with him still in the passenger seat like some cheap side piece. And now I'm the idiot standing here because some hospital form still has my name on it. Lucia was shaking, tears streaming. Mama, how could you do that to Dad, to me? Uncle Javi changed my diapers. He taught me how to trap a ball. And you were, she couldn't finish. She just screamed, raw, guttural, the sound of a kid whose entire childhood just got rewritten in blood. Sophia started crying, weak, pathetic sobs through the oxygen tube. I was lonely, I was stupid, I hated myself every time. Then why keep doing it? I roared. The words tore out of my throat. 8 months. 8 months you looked me in the eye, kissed me goodnight, told me you loved me while you were texting him to meet you at some shitty hotel. I paced like a caged animal. Rain hammered the window. Heartbeat monitor screaming in rhythm with my pulse. Lucia grabbed my arm. Dad, stop, you'll hurt yourself. I shook her off. Hurt myself. I've been hurting for 3 years and didn't even know the half of it. I turned back to Sophia. Leaned over the bed rail so close I could smell the faint citrus of her perfume under the hospital stink. You kept my name as emergency contact, I said, voice dropping to a deadly whisper. Why? So I'd be the one to watch you die. Or so I'd be the one to pay the bills when you woke up. Sophia's lips trembled. I never changed it because part of me still, don't. I cut her off. Don't you dare say you still loved me. You lost that right the first time you let him inside you. The room went dead silent except for the rain and the machines. I stepped back. Blood dripped from my knuckles onto the linoleum. Lucia whispered, "What now, Dad?" I looked at Sophia, broken, crying, hooked to tubes, and felt nothing but cold fury. Now we wait for the police, I said. Because if Javier was in that car with you and he walked away while you bled out, I want him in handcuffs before sunrise. Right then the door opened again. Detective Ruiz stepped in, rain dripping from his coat, holding a tablet. He looked straight at me. Mr. Iniesta. We pulled the dashcam audio from the other vehicle. Your wife was screaming Javier Morales' name right before impact, and witnesses saw him get out of the car and walk away while she was unconscious on the asphalt. My vision went red. Detective Ruiz didn't waste time with small talk. He stepped inside, rain still dripping from his coat, tablet already glowing in his hand. The room smelled like wet wool and antiseptic. Mr. Iniesta. Mrs. Reyes. He nodded once at Sophia, then looked straight at me. We recovered dashcam audio from the vehicle that clipped hers. It's short, it's clear, and it's bad. He pressed play before anyone could speak. Sophia's voice first panicked, high-pitched. "Javier, get the hell out of my car. I told you it's over. I'm telling Andres everything tonight." Javier's voice, low, angry, possessive. "You think you can just walk away, after 8 months? After I waited 3 years for you to leave that boring bastard? You're mine, Sophia. You don't get to." Tires screeching, metal grinding, a sickening thud, then silence. Ruiz killed the audio. Witnesses saw Morales exit the passenger side immediately after impact. He looked back once, saw her unconscious, and walked away. Called emergency services anonymously from 2 blocks down the road. "We're treating it as leaving the scene of serious injury. Possible reckless endangerment if we can prove he knew how bad it was." My ears rang. The monitor beside Sophia's bed spiked to 120. My vision narrowed to a tunnel. 8 months of betrayal. And then he left her bleeding on the asphalt like discarded trash. I turned slowly to Sophia. "You let my best friend fuck you for 8 months, and then he left you to die on the M-40 while you were unconscious." Sophia's bruised lips trembled. "Andres, I was ending it, I swear." "Shut up," I roared. The shout bounced off the walls. Lucia flinched. "You don't get to swear anything. You let him in our bed, you let him touch you. And then you let him walk away while you bled out." Lucia was already screaming. "You disgusting liar. He was Uncle Javi. He taught me how to head a ball. He came to every birthday. And you were screwing him behind Dad's back while Dad was paying for everything." I paced the room like a wounded animal. Fists clenched so hard my split knuckles reopened. Blood dripped onto the floor in fat red drops. Inside my head it was pure carnage. I saw Javier's smug grin after matches, his hand on my shoulder saying, "We're brothers, Captain." I saw him on top of Sophia. I saw him walking away from the wrecked car, not even glancing back. I wanted to drive to his house right now, kick the door in, put my fist through his face until he begged. Lucia grabbed my arm. "Dad, don't do something stupid." I shook her off. Stupid. The stupid thing was trusting him with my life on the pitch. The stupid thing was believing my wife wouldn't spread her legs for my so-called brother. Sophia sobbed. "I hate myself. I hate what I did." "Then why keep doing it?" I snarled. 8 months. 8 months you looked me in the eye and lied." My phone buzzed. Sponsor number 1. I answered on speaker without thinking. "Andres, it's Miguel from Nike Iberia. The story's everywhere. Parents are pulling kids from the academy already. We're pausing all payments until this is resolved. Fix it or we're out." I hung up, threw the phone against the wall. It cracked. Lucia pulled up Twitter on her phone. Read aloud in a shaking voice. "Iniesta is a cuck who's still holding her hand after she rode his teammate for 8 months. Pathetic." Another. "Javier should have finished the job and left her to rot." Another. "Academy is done. Who wants their kid coached by a man who lets his wife cheat with his best friend?" I stared at the cracked screen on the floor. The rage was a living thing now. It clawed up my throat. I almost punched the wall again. Almost told Sophia to get the hell out of my life and die alone. But Lucia was crying so hard she could barely breathe. I forced myself to stand still, forced air into my lungs. Then Javier's number flashed on my cracked phone. A voicemail. I hit play on speaker. His voice came through smug, unrepentant. "Andres, heard you're playing hero at the hospital. Cute, but she came to me first. Don't act like you didn't know she was unhappy. See you in court if you keep running your mouth about me." The room went dead silent. Lucia whispered, "He's threatening us." I looked at Sophia, then at Lucia, then back at the phone. My voice came out cold, dead. "He just signed his own death warrant." Morning came like a red card in the 90th minute, sudden, brutal, final. The rain hadn't stopped. It drummed the hospital windows like an angry away crowd. I hadn't slept. Blood crusted on my knuckles. Eyes burned from staring at the cracked phone screen all night. Lucia was curled in the chair, phone clutched like a weapon. Sophia slept under heavy sedation, face still bruised purple, oxygen hissing like a snake. My phone buzzed again. Sponsor number 2. I answered on speaker without thinking. "Andres, it's Elena from Adidas, Spain. The story is everywhere. Marca, AS, El Mundo, even BBC Sport picked it up. Parents are flooding our inbox demanding we drop sponsorship of the Academy. We're suspending payments effective immediately. Fix this or we're gone for good. I didn't reply, just hung up. The line went dead. Lucia looked up, eyes red. They're pulling out. All of them, I said, voice flat. The empire I built from nothing after I hung up the boots gone in 12 hours because my wife spread her legs for my left back and he left her to die on the highway. Lucia opened Twitter, scrolled, read aloud in a shaking voice. Iniesta the ultimate cuck, holding her hand while she was getting railed by his teammate for 8 months. Pathetic. Another. Academy kids deserve better than a coach whose wife was Javier's side piece. Pull your children today. Another. Javier should have finished the job, left her bleeding, saved Iniesta the embarrassment. I snatched the phone from her. Read the next one myself. Iniesta built scholarships for underprivileged kids and his ex was busy getting underprivileged by his best friend. Burn it all down. I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and shattered completely this time. Paparazzi were already outside. I could see them through the blinds, lenses trained on the 8th floor window like sniper rifles. Flashes popped every few seconds. Shouts drifted up through the rain. Andres, is it true Sofia was cheating with Morales? Andres, are you forgiving her or divorcing her again? Andres, comment on Javier abandoning her at the crash site. I almost walked down there and gave them what they wanted. Almost told them every filthy detail. Almost let the whole world watch me break. Instead I paced, fists clenched, jaw locked so tight my teeth ached. Lucia screamed at the window, "Leave us alone, you vultures!" Sofia stirred. Eyes fluttered open. "What's happening?" I spun on her. "What's happening? The world knows. The photo from the cafe just dropped, your hand on his thigh, smiling like teenagers. Headlines say, Iniesta the last to know. Sponsors are bailing. Parents are protesting at the academy gates right now with signs that say, Iniesta out, protect our children. My legacy, every scholarship kid, every drill, every dream I gave them, is being torn apart because you couldn't keep your legs closed and he couldn't keep his mouth shut." Sofia started crying again. "Andres, I never wanted—" "Stop." My voice cracked like glass. "You don't get to cry now. You cried when you left. You cried when you signed the papers. You don't get to cry when the bill comes due." Lucia grabbed my arm. "Dad, look outside." I looked. Academy parents had arrived at the hospital. 20, maybe 30. Signs in the rain. Iniesta knew and did nothing. No cheaters coaching our kids. Javier and Sofia belong in jail. One father was on live stream, yelling up at the window, "We trusted you with our sons. You let this filth near them." I felt the rage crest like a wave in stoppage time. I almost went down there. Almost told them the full truth. Almost let the cameras catch me losing it completely. Instead I turned back to Sofia. "You did this," I said, voice low and lethal. "You and him. You tore my world apart and now the pieces are cutting everyone I love." My cracked phone buzzed one last time before it died completely. A notification from Marca. Breaking exclusive cafe photo shows Sofia Reyes and Javier Morales in compromising position 6 months ago. Full gallery live now. And pinned to the top comment. Javier's verified account had just posted a single line. "Truth hurts, Captain. She chose me. Deal with it." The room went black in my vision. The Marca gallery loaded like a slow-motion studs-up challenge straight to the throat. 6 photos, all timestamped 6 months ago, all crystal clear despite the dim cafe lighting. Photo 1, Sofia laughing, head thrown back, hand resting high on Javier's thigh under the table. Photo 2, Javier leaning in, lips brushing her ear, her fingers tangled in his hair. Photo 3, their foreheads touching, eyes locked, the kind of intimacy that doesn't happen over just coffee. Photo 4, her hand sliding up his chest, his arm around her waist. Photo 5, them kissing deep, hungry, no mistaking it. Photo 6, them leaving together, his hand low on her back, guiding her toward the door like she belonged to him. The headline screamed, "Exclusive. Iniesta's ex-wife and former teammate in steamy cafe affair. Months before Fatal Crash, comments were already in the thousands. I read the top ones out loud, voice shaking with fury. Iniesta, the ultimate cuck, holding her hand while she was getting railed by his left back for 8 months. Legendary loser. Javier owned her for 8 months and Iniesta still plays nurse in ICU. Bro needs a spine transplant. Pull your kids from that academy now. Who wants their son coached by a man whose wife was Javier's personal cum dump? Lucia snatched the phone, screamed at the screen so loud the monitor spiked. They're outside the academy gates again. Live stream, parents chanting Iniesta out, cheater coach, kids are crying. They're dragging them out mid-drill. My phone rang. Third sponsor in 20 minutes. Andres, the voice barked, this photo gallery is nuclear. We're terminating the contract, effective immediately. No discussion. Good luck rebuilding from ashes. Click, I stared at the black screen. Then at Sophia. You let him kiss you like that. My voice came out cracked, raw, breaking on every word. In public, where anyone could see. While I was home helping Lucia with homework, paying your fucking credit cards, telling the world you were just finding yourself. Sophia tried to sit up. Winced hard, tears streamed down the bruise. Andres, it was one afternoon, I was weak. One afternoon, I exploded. The shout tore my throat raw. There are 6 photos, Sophia. 6 times you chose to spread your legs for my best friend while I was still wearing the ring you ripped off and threw at my face. You let him mark you like a cheap trophy while I was out there building something real for our daughter, for kids who had nothing. Lucia was sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. I used to hug him after matches. I called him Uncle Javi. I told him I loved him like family, and he was fucking my mother. While Dad was coaching kids who looked up to both of you like gods, I paced the room like a wounded bull. Rain lashed the window like a stadium full of booze. My reflection stared back, eyes bloodshot, blood on my hoodie from split knuckles, face of a man who just lost the Champions League final he didn't know he was playing in. Inside my head, pure carnage. I saw Javier's smug grin in every trophy photo we took together. I saw him on top of Sophia, her legs wrapped around him. I saw him walking away from the wrecked car without a backward glance. I saw him posting that caption, "She chose me, deal with it." I slammed both fists into the wall. Plaster exploded. More blood. Pain shot up my arms. I didn't care. You disgusting whore, I roared at Sophia. You let him inside you for 8 months. You looked me in the eye every morning and lied. You kissed me goodnight with the same mouth you used on him. And now you're lying here crying like you're the victim. Sophia broke completely, sobbing so hard the oxygen tube fogged. I hate myself. I hate what I did to you, to Lucia. I was lonely, I was stupid, lonely, I screamed over her. You were lonely so you fucked my brother. You were lonely so you let him leave you bleeding on the highway like roadkill. Lucia grabbed my arm, nails digging in. Dad, stop. You'll kill her. You'll kill yourself. I shook her off, turned back to Sophia. Get the hell out of my life, I snarled, voice dropping to pure venom. I'm done. You and your boyfriend can rot together in whatever gutter you crawled out of. I'm walking out that door and never looking back. I grabbed my coat, made it 3 steps toward the exit. Lucia blocked the door, tears streaming, voice cracking like glass. Dad, if you leave her now, you become just like him. You leave her bleeding too, and you leave me with no one. I froze. Chest heaving, fists shaking so hard blood dripped onto the floor. The paparazzi outside were chanting my name like a death sentence. My phone buzzed again. Javier's number. A new voicemail. I hit play on speaker before I could stop myself. His voice came through smug, taunting, dripping with arrogance. Saw the photos, Captain. She looked good with my hand up her skirt, didn't she? You can have her back now. She's used goods anyway. But if you keep running your mouth about me, my lawyers will bury you and your precious little academy. Your move, brother. Lucia screamed so loud the monitor flatlined for a second. Sophia broke into wrenching, choking sobs. My vision went black. The voicemail played on loop in my head even after the phone went silent. Saw the photos, Captain. She looked good with my hand up her skirt, didn't she? You can have her back now. She's used goods anyway. But if you keep running your mouth about me, my lawyers will bury you and your precious little academy. Your move, brother." I stared at the cracked screen like it was Javier's face. Lucia was hyperventilating. He just called her used goods. He called her used goods after he left her bleeding on the highway. Sophia broke into choking, wrenching sobs that made the oxygen tube rattle. "Andres, please turn it off." I spun on her so fast the chair tipped. "Turn it off. You want me to turn it off? After he just called you his sloppy seconds on a recording that's probably already being leaked to every tabloid in Spain." I slammed my palm on the bed rail. Metal rang like a gong. "You let this piece of shit inside you for 8 months, I roared, voice cracking on every word, "and now he's threatening me, threatening the academy, threatening Lucia's future. After he walked away and left you unconscious in a wrecked car like yesterday's trash." Lucia grabbed the phone from my hand, played the voicemail again, louder. Javier's smug laugh at the end cut through the room like a blade. She screamed at Sophia, "This is what you chose. This arrogant, gutless coward who talks about you like you're a used tissue. This is who you betrayed Dad for." Sophia curled in on herself, crying so hard she could barely breathe. "I hate him. I hate what I did. I hate myself." "Then why the fuck did you keep going back?" I bellowed. 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of him smirking at me over beers while he was fucking my wife behind my back. I paced like a cornered animal. Rain hammered the glass, heart monitor screaming in triple time. My phone buzzed again. "Sponsor number 4. I answered without looking. "Andres, it's over." The voicemail just hit WhatsApp groups. "Parents are pulling every single kid. We're out. Permanently. Don't call us again." Click, I dropped the phone. It clattered across the floor. Outside the window the paparazzi swarm had doubled. Flashes lit the rain like lightning strikes. Shouts drifted up. "Andres. Comment on Javier calling your ex used goods. Andres. Are you pressing charges? Andres. Is the academy finished?" I almost ripped the blinds down and screamed back every detail. Almost told them to come up here and watch me break what was left of my life. Instead I turned on Sophia again. "You destroyed everything," I said, voice low and lethal. "Everything I built after retirement, every scholarship, every kid who looked at me like a hero. You and that smug bastard turned it all to ash." Lucia was crying so hard she could barely stand. "Dad, he threatened us. He threatened me." I looked at my daughter, 21 years old, shaking, broken, and something inside me snapped for real. I grabbed my coat. "I'm going to his house, right now. I'm going to kick his door in and make him eat every word of that voicemail." Lucia blocked the door again. "Dad, no, you'll go to jail. You'll lose everything." I shoved past her. "I already lost everything. He took it. She gave it to him." Sophia screamed through her sobs. "Andres, please, don't do this. I'll tell the police everything. I'll testify, just don't." I stopped at the door, turned back slowly. My voice came out dead. "You don't get to beg now. You lost that right when you spread your legs for him, when you let him leave you bleeding, when you let him threaten my daughter." I yanked the door open. My phone, still on the floor, lit up with one last notification before the battery died. An anonymous DM. A single attached audio file. The preview text read, "This is the full car argument recording. She says his name over and over right before the crash. Thought you should hear how much she wanted him." I stared at the file. My hand hovered over play. The anonymous audio file sat on my cracked phone screen like a live grenade. I hit play before common sense could stop me. Sophia's voice first, breathless, desperate, unmistakable. "Javier, yes, harder, don't stop, oh God, Javier." Then his low growl, "You love it when I fuck you like this, don't you? Better than that quiet little husband of yours ever did." Her moan, long, broken, filthy. Then tires screeching, metal tearing, the crash, 10 seconds. That's all it took to turn my entire life into a pornographic horror show. I deleted the file, then undeleted it, played it again, again. Each time the rage built higher, hotter, until my vision pulsed red. Lucia was frozen, mouth open, no sound coming out. Sophia curled into a fetal position under the sheets, sobbing so violently the bed rails rattled. I threw the phone at the wall. It exploded into pieces. You let him record you. My voice came out shredded. You let him record you moaning his name while he fucked you in the car. And then you crashed with that audio still on the dash cam. Sophia choked out words between sobs. It wasn't, I didn't know, he must have. Shut the fuck up. I roared. The shout tore my throat raw. You don't get to play innocent now. You spread your legs for him in public cafes, in cars, in hotels, while I was home raising our daughter and building something real. And now the whole world can hear you begging for my best friend's dick right before you almost died. Lucia finally found her voice, screaming, high-pitched, shattering. You're disgusting. You're a whore. I used to brag about my mom, the architect, my mom who designed stadiums, and you were busy getting railed by Uncle Javi in the front seat like some cheap hooker. I hate you. I hate you. She lunged at the bed. I caught her before she could reach Sophia. She fought me, nails raking my arms, sobbing hysterically. My phone, somehow still alive on the floor, buzzed with a new email notification. Javier's lawyer. Subject: cease and desist and defamation lawsuit, immediate demand for retraction. I opened it on speaker so they could both hear the death knell. Mr. Iniesta, our client Javier Morales demands immediate public retraction of all statements implying criminal conduct, moral turpitude, or defamation of character. Failure to comply within 24 hours will result in a civil suit seeking €5 million in damages, plus legal fees. We have evidence of your public statements causing irreparable harm to Mr. Morales' reputation and business interests. Consider this your final warning. Regards, Martinez and Associates. Lucia screamed again. He's suing you. After he fucked your wife for 8 months, left her to die, and sent that disgusting voicemail. He's suing you. I stared at the email, then at Sophia. You destroyed my life, I said, voice low and lethal. You let him inside you. You let him record you. You let him walk away. And now he's coming for what little I have left, my academy, my name, my daughter's future. I paced, fists clenched. Blood from earlier reopened wounds dripped steadily. Outside, the paparazzi were in full frenzy. Chants drifted up through the rain. Iniesta, comment on the sex tape leak. Iniesta, are you still holding her hand after hearing her moan his name? Sponsors texted in a flood. Final termination. Effective now. Board voted unanimous withdrawal. Parents demanding refunds. Academy is toxic. I almost laughed, bitter, broken. Almost walked out the door and let them all burn. Instead, I turned back to Sophia. You want to know what I'm thinking right now? My voice cracked on the last word. I'm thinking I should leave you here. Let the media tear you apart. Let Javier sue me into the ground. Let Lucia hate you forever. Because you deserve it. You fucking deserve every second of this hell. Lucia was crying so hard she could barely stand. Dad, please don't. I looked at my daughter. Then at Sophia, broken, sobbing, hooked to machines, face purple and swollen. I almost said it. Almost told her to go to hell. Then the final anonymous message arrived, same unknown account. A single attached photo. Sophia and Javier, mid-kiss in the car, her hands in his hair, his hand between her legs. Timestamp: 30 seconds before the crash. Caption: this is the last frame before impact. She was still moaning his name when the car spun. Thought you should see how much she loved him right up to the end. I stared at the photo. My hand hovered over delete. Then I looked up at Sophia. My voice came out dead. You have 10 seconds to explain why I shouldn't forward this to every news outlet in Spain and let them finish what you started. The photo loaded in the anonymous DM like the last frame before a red card. Sophia and Javier in the front seat of the car, mid-crash second. Her hands buried in his hair, pulling him in. His right hand between her thighs, fingers disappearing under her skirt. Her mouth open in what was unmistakably a moan. Timestamp: 28 seconds before impact. Caption from the sender: she was still coming on his fingers when the car spun. This is how much she loved him right up to the end. You're welcome. I stared at the image until my eyes burned. The room smelled like blood, rain, and Sophia's fading citrus perfume, now sickening. Lucia saw my face and lunged for the phone. Dad, what is it? I didn't let her see it. I turned the screen off. But the image was already seared into my skull. Sophia lifted her head weakly. Andres, what? I walked to the bed, slow, deliberate. Every step felt like walking through broken glass. I held the phone up so she could see the locked screen. Then I unlocked it, held it inches from her bruised face. You were getting fingered by my best friend while driving. My voice came out flat dead, the calm before a stadium riot. He had his hand inside you, right before you crashed. You were coming on his fingers when the car spun. That's how you almost died. Moaning his name while he used you like a cheap toy. Sophia's eyes widened in horror. She tried to turn away. I grabbed her chin, gently enough not to bruise more, hard enough she couldn't escape. Look at it, I hissed. Look at the photo of you riding his hand like a slut 30 seconds before you almost killed yourself. This is what the world is seeing now. This is what Lucia's friends are sending her. This is what every parent at the academy is showing their kids to explain why they're pulling them out. Lucia screamed, a raw animal sound. You filthy fucking liar. You were getting off on him while Dad was home alone wondering why you were always working late. You disgusting piece of trash. She lunged again. I caught her midair. She fought like a wildcat, nails, elbows, sobs. Sophia broke completely, sobbing so hard the oxygen tube fogged and cleared in frantic bursts. I never meant, it was a mistake, a mistake, I roared over her. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. You let him fingerfuck you in a moving car. You let him record it. You let him leave you bleeding. And now you're crying like you're the victim. I released Lucia. She collapsed against the wall, sliding down, crying so hard she could barely breathe. My phone buzzed again. Another sponsor termination. Another parent video from the academy gates, mothers holding signs. Iniesta lets his wife get fucked by his friend, protect our sons. Paparazzi outside were now chanting my name like a curse. Iniesta, is the sex tape real? Iniesta, did you know she was coming on his fingers when she crashed? I almost ripped the blinds down and threw the phone out the window for them to see. Instead, I turned back to Sophia. You want to know what I'm thinking? My voice dropped to a lethal whisper. I'm thinking I should forward this photo to every news outlet in Spain. Let them plaster it across every screen. Let Lucia see exactly what kind of mother she had. Let Javier's smug face get matched with this image of his hand up your skirt. Let the world see what you really are. Sophia sobbed harder. Please don't, I'll die of shame. Good, I snarled. You almost did once. Maybe this time you'll finish the job. Lucia whispered through her tears. Dad, don't, please. I looked at my daughter, broken, shaking, staring at me like I was the monster now. I almost sent it. Finger hovered over forward. Then I looked at Sophia, swollen face, tubes, tears, the woman who once carried our child. My hand shook. I deleted the photo, but the rage didn't leave. It just went cold, deep, permanent. As I dropped the phone on the bed, the door burst open. Hospital security, 2 officers. Behind them, Detective Ruiz holding a warrant. Mr. Iniesta, you're under arrest for assault. Security footage shows you punching walls and threatening staff. And we have new evidence. Javier Morales just filed a formal complaint. He claims you sent him the explicit crash photo with a death threat attached. I stared at the cuffs. Lucia screamed. Sophia sobbed. My last thought before they grabbed my wrists, this is how it ends. Not with forgiveness, with handcuffs. The cuffs clicked shut around my wrists like the final whistle on a match I never wanted to play. 2 security officers gripped my arms. Detective Ruiz read the rights in flat, bored Spanish. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Lucia screamed so loud the oxygen monitor flatlined for a second. Dad, no, you didn't do anything. He's lying. Javier's lying. Sophia tried to sit up, ripping at the IV line. Blood trickled from her elbow. Andres, tell them it's not true. You didn't threaten him. I looked at her, bruised, crying, pathetic, and felt nothing but cold ash where love used to be. The officers dragged me toward the door. I didn't resist, didn't speak. Just let them pull me. Paparazzi swarmed the hallway like hyenas. Flashes exploded in my face. Shouts overlapped into white noise. Iniesta arrested. Sex tape threat confirmed. Iniesta assaults hospital staff over cheating scandal. One reporter shoved a mic under my nose. Andres, did you send Javier the explicit crash photo with a death threat? I stopped, looked straight into the camera. My voice came out calm. Dead. I deleted it, but if I had sent it, he would have deserved every pixel. The hallway erupted. Phones recording. Security shoved me forward. Lucia ran after us, sobbing. Dad, don't leave me with her. Don't leave me alone. They pushed me into the elevator. Doors closed on her face, red, broken, pleading. In the back of the police car, rain streaked the windows like tears the sky refused to shed. My phone was gone, confiscated, but I could still hear the comments in my head. Iniesta arrested for threatening the man who fucked his wife. Poetic justice for the cuck. Academy is finished. Kids taught by a man who got cucked by his own teammate. Javier should have finished her off, saved us all the drama. Sponsors had already pulled every last euro. Parents posted videos of kids crying at the academy gates. We trusted him. He let this filth near our sons. The car pulled into the station. They processed me like any other man, fingerprints, mugshot, orange jumpsuit. In the holding cell, alone under fluorescent buzz, I sat on the metal bench and stared at the wall. I saw every moment flash like a highlight reel in reverse. The 3 a.m. call, the letter, the dashcam audio, the cafe photos, the voicemail, the sex audio, the final car photo, her coming on his fingers right before impact, and Javier's smug face through it all. I clenched my fists until fresh blood welled from the cuts. I almost laughed, bitter, hollow. This was it. The captain who never lost his cool on the pitch, arrested for threatening the man who stole his wife and left her to die. The cell door clanged open hours later. Detective Ruiz stood there. Charges dropped. Hospital security footage shows you punched walls, not people. Morales withdrew the complaint, probably scared of discovery in court. You're free to go. I stood slowly. He added, quiet, but the media won't drop it. The photos are everywhere. The academy is collapsing. Your daughter's alone up there with her mother. You sure you want to walk away? I looked at him. My voice came out rough, cracked, empty. I already walked away from everything that mattered. What's one more step? I stepped out into the rain-soaked night. Paparazzi waited at the gate, flashes like gunfire. I didn't cover my face. I let them shoot. I took a taxi straight back to the hospital. When I walked into the ICU room, Lucia was asleep in the chair, cheeks streaked with dried tears. Sophia was awake, eyes swollen, staring at the ceiling. She saw me, whispered one sentence that hit harder than any tackle I ever took. Andres, take me home, please, I have nowhere else to go. I stood in the doorway, rain dripping from my coat onto the floor. My last thought before I answered, this is the final play, injury time. One last shot on goal. Rain still fell in sheets when I walked back into the ICU room at 4:17 a.m. Lucia was slumped in the chair, asleep with tear tracks dried on her cheeks. Sophia lay awake, eyes swollen, staring at the ceiling like she was counting every crack in the tiles. She saw me in the doorway, orange jumpsuit gone, replaced with the same blood-stained hoodie I'd worn since the 3 a.m. call. My wrists were raw from the cuffs, knuckles still crusted black. She whispered the only thing left to say. Andres, take me home, please, I have nowhere else. The words landed like a final, exhausted free kick in the 120th minute. I stood there, rain dripping from my coat onto the linoleum. Heartbeat monitor beeping steady, hers, not mine. Inside my head the highlight reel played one last time, louder than ever. The letter, the dashcam audio of her moaning his name. The cafe photos, her hand on his thigh, foreheads touching. The voicemail calling her used goods. The sex audio, her begging for more right before impact. The final car photo, his fingers inside her 30 seconds before the crash. The arrest, the mugshot, the chance outside, the sponsors vanishing, the parents pulling kids, the academy gates empty, every betrayal, every knife twist. Every second I wanted to walk away, burn it all, let them rot. I looked at Lucia, curled small, broken by the people who were supposed to protect her. I looked at Sophia, bruised, bandaged, tubes everywhere. The woman who once carried our child, who once laughed in my kitchen, who once wore my jersey to bed. My voice came out rough, cracked, barely above a whisper. "You destroyed me." Sophia closed her eyes. Fresh tears slipped free. "I know. You let him fuck you for 8 months. You let him record you. You let him leave you bleeding. You let him threaten our daughter. You let the whole world see what you became." She sobbed, once quiet, defeated. "I deserve nothing." Lucia stirred. Eyes fluttered open. Saw me. Saw the raw wrists. Saw the exhaustion carved into my face. "Dad," I stepped forward, slow. Every step felt like dragging chains. I stopped at the bed rail. Sophia looked up at me, eyes pleading, terrified, empty. I reached out, not to hit, not to push. I took her hand, cold, trembling, fragile. Lucia stood, walked to the other side of the bed, took her mother's other hand. Then she reached across and took mine. 3 hands stacked on the blanket, mine on top, scarred and bloody. Sophia's in the middle, bruised and weak. Lucia's underneath, small and shaking. No words for a long minute, just rain, just the monitor, just breathing. I spoke first, voice low, broken, final. "I hate what you did. I hate what he did. I hate what this did to us." Sophia whispered, "I know, but I'm not walking away." I squeezed once, hard enough to hurt, soft enough to hold. "Because if I do, I become them. And I refuse to become them." Lucia's tears fell onto our hands. She whispered, "I hate her too, but I love her, and I love you." Sophia cried harder. "I don't deserve this." "No," I said, "you don't, but Lucia does. And I'm not letting her lose both parents in one night." I looked out the window. Madrid skyline gray and wet. Somewhere out there Javier was probably smiling at his lawyer. Somewhere out there sponsors were counting losses. Somewhere out there parents were locking academy gates forever. But in this room, 3 people who had torn each other apart, 3 hands stayed stacked. I leaned down, kissed Lucia's forehead. Then slow, deliberate, I leaned down and kissed Sophia's bruised temple. Not passion, not forgiveness, just presence. The rain kept falling. We didn't speak again. We just stayed. The end dropped one word: right now. Stay or heal. After all the rage, all the knives, all the destruction. Would you have stacked your hand on top or walked out forever? Be brutally honest in the comments. This is Millionaire CEO Stories, where empires burn, legacies bleed, and sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is refuse to let go. If this full story ripped your soul apart and then stitched it back with barbed wire, smash like, share the whole series with anyone who's ever had to choose between hate and hope. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next story will break you even harder. Thank you for staying through the hell. You're the reason these stories matter. Until the next whistle, legends, keep choosing, even when it hurts.